And then I went to San Diego and I got kicked out there and I went to Sacramento State. And they had a bunch of real, they had Chicano studies.
Yes.
And black studies.
Black studies, absolutely.
And so I started Indian studies. And I was teaching a course to graduates. And they turned me in and said that I had to go see the dean after about my third class. They said, we have 4 or 5 things we're going to charge you with. Charges. And I said, what are they? You cussed in class. And I said, I may have cussed once or twice, I don't know. And then you're trying to take over the government. I said, take over the government? There aren't enough fucking Indians in this school to take over one fucking bathroom. What are you talking about, take over there? And then they said, you're a communist. And I said, a communist? I have enough trouble being a fucking Indian in this country without being a fucking communist. I'm not a fucking communist. And so I was a communist, I cussed in class, and we're going to take over the government. And so they wouldn't renew my contract. I lasted, well, I was in 4 colleges in 5 years. And then I went from there to Stony Brook, Berkeley, got kicked out, UC San Diego, Sacramento State, and I went down to a community college called Contra Costa College. And I got arrested by the FBI for harboring Venezuela. And so they wanted to get rid of me. But they fucked up. They'd just given me a letter of recommendation after my first 2 years of teaching. And then they gave it to me, and about 2 weeks later I got called by the FBI for harboring banks. They wanted to get rid of me, but they knew, what are they going to do? They're going to give me a letter of recommendation one day, 1 month, and next month fire me? And if they hire you back for the 3rd year, it has to be with tenure. So they had to give me tenure. And I stayed there about 34 years. But it was, heard about it. You know, that's black economization is very important. I was going to ask them to start an Indian study. And they kind of laughed and thought it was funny. And I looked at them. And I said, you son of a bitches, what the fuck are you blacks going to teach? How to fucking eat watermelon and pick cotton? And you goddamn Asians, whatever, how to grow rice? And I said, you motherfuckers are no better than white people. You have the same negative stereotypes about Indians and white people do. And you're sitting there laughing when I want to start this Indian study. And I said, you're nothing but a bunch of fucking whitewashed assholes.
And some of the Chicanos were probably, like you said, mixed.
Yeah.
Mixed people.
But they didn't want to smoke me. They were not. I said, I'll hit each and every one of you motherfuckers. You want to step out, I'll take you one at a time. And they didn't want to fight. But that finally came, 2 days later they came and said, we'll support you. So we went to them and said, if we're going to start a black Chicano area on Indian. I said, well, so they did. And they were hunting for an Indian PhD, and there were only 20 in America. 20.
That's right, yeah.
And they all had better jobs. And finally, Forbes told me, he said, give it to Brightman. He just finished his master's degree there, and he's working on his doctorate. So they offered it to me, and I took it. And I didn't know fucking thing about Indians. I never took a course on Indians. I never took a course where they ever said anything nice about Indians. Or wagon trains and white people.
Exactly. Bunch of savages, you know, scalpers and whatnot, yeah.
They offered me the job. First I said, I'll let you know in a couple of days or so. And I got the thing about it. And I thought, if I don't take it, they're going to give it to a white man. So I took it, and I developed, I had no idea what I was going to teach. I was a history major. Never took a course where they ever said anything nice about it. So I started an Indian study. When I started the Indian study, I turned around and I was going to offer a political science course. And a political science, I got, well, I'm not teaching that. You know, trying to figure out what to teach. And finally I thought, hell, I will ask, okay, how many treaties were signed with Indians? And I don't know, so I started looking up at treaties. What was the first treaty with the Delaware? And the last treaty with the Nez Perce. And how many call for education? How many call for health? There were only about a dozen treaties that provided health expectancy, health. So I got into treaties and got into the first hospital established. And then he was the first commissioner, and I started just putting all this shit together. When I got together, they loved it. I was kind of worried they might, and they thought it was great, so I kept improving on it. And finally I had a hell of a political science course. And it was really I got in all the treaties, and 389 treaties. First was the Delaware, and last was the Nez Perce. And got into how many of those call for help. When you put it all together, and then I got into the beer vending there, when it started, and how it started, how it grew, and then the Indian Health Hospital, how it grew, and then got into the laws in different states, and the difference, what is a reservation, the land should be in, kind of defined all that. It made a hell of a course out of it. People loved it. My history course.
Excuse me, this is a public library, right?
Yeah.
This is where the meeting was supposed to be at, or is it own history, or?
We're taking a break. It's in this room in here. There's some food in there if you're hungry, some water and whatnot.
I'll just get some. Thank you. I'll be late for my own funeral.